St. Mary's Gaels head coach Randy Bennett once again joins Marching to Madness. Coach Bennett won his seventh West Coast Conference Coach of the Year honor as the Gaels enjoyed their third regular season title in as many years, and they also cut the nets in Vegas now in 2024 with the tournament crown. Coach, it's a pleasure seeing you.
Great to see you, and great to start talking some basketball.
Oh,
Season's getting
definitely.
close.
Definitely, I tell you, a phenomenal experience in winning the regular season for three consecutive years as the level of play in the WCC has grown. So, what are the major contents that are in place to win these back-to-back titles?
Oh, it always goes back to players, and anytime you lose sight of that, you probably lost your mind. So
Mhm.
I haven't lost sight of that yet. But we've had good players, and we had these three seniors were kind of incredible as far as first of all they turned for their Augustus. It was his fourth year,
Mhm.
and Mitch Jackson, it was his fifth year, and Luke Barrett is his fifth year. So you don't see that often anymore. But those guys were, I mean, they're remarkable leaders and just very committed to making St. Mary's basketball championship program. So anyhow, they yeah, the first group of guys that go to the NCAA tournament for 4 years, 4 for 4.
Mhm.
Um, and they were first group of guys to win our league 3 years in a row. Did some just historic things, and they just incredible stories as far as being successful and being loyal and being committed, and they'll go on to have good professional careers. But it was that's why that's why we've been what we've been, and hopefully the young guys learn from them. We only have one senior next year. That'll be Harry Wessels, but hope they'll learn from them and do the same. But it's easy to say, hard to do.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Augustus improve each year. So, how did you and your staff work on his game at each increment to get him to the point he is now?
Keeper Augustus, a couple things happened for him. He came in, he played as a freshman and 15 minutes game. As a sophomore, played 15 minutes game on good teams, but he wasn't a full-time starter yet. He wasn't an all-league guy yet, and so I think it's a good lesson for a lot college players. It doesn't happen immediately for most players, and it didn't for Augustus. And it took him a little while. And then the key, what happened for him was he usually had some international commitments. He'd go back and play that whatever under 19s or the U20s or something. And they usually had something, but he stayed the spring and summer going in his junior year, and I think that made the difference for him. And he had a bigger leadership role. He just kind of that was key for him. It made him better. It made him feel more like this was his program, and he was he was going to be a starting point guard, and he did. And he just took off from there. He ended up being here that year, and yeah, we won the league. And then he did what's really hard to do. He did his second year in a row. And
Mhm.
so I was a turning point in his career. He stuck around in the spring and summer, did our whole program. He needed it, helped his skill, helped his confidence, he got in better shape, he got stronger. So, but he's a heck of a kid, and just old school. Gonna he was gonna make it work at St. Mary's. He wouldn't spend any time thinking about maybe I should go back to Lithuania or should I go to another school, any of that. I think those things are key to guys becoming really good players. And that's kind of our program is we're heavy on player development. And
Mhm.
so those three guys were all that. But Augustus really made a big turn.
The Gaels signed their first player. from the transfer portal in Jazz Gardner from Pacific. As a 7-footer, he will be an excellent addition with his skill set in the post.
Yeah, we think we can make Jazz a good player. I've known Jazz a long time, and his dad, he played for us at Pepperdine, was assistant coach there. So I've known Jazz a while, and I've always thought he's good, but I just think he's a big, and it takes bigs a little while before they're good, like a year or two. They just got to get stronger. Jazz is in that category, needed strength. I think Jazz will be good, and we're probably going to redshirt him his first year and then and play him his last two, and I think that's what he needs to do to. He does that, he's going to have a chance to make, be a really good player and a chance to make money as a professional.
Paulius Morauskas and Mikey Lewis return. Both are three solid 3-point shooters. Morauskas can change defensive philosophies, though, because he has a really good shooting approach as a 6'8" forward.
Yeah, Paulus is just good forward. He's a good
Mhm.
scorer. He's a really good scorer, and he's a very good rebounder. And so those two things are very important in him being a key player for us next year. I think he's improved. I think he's done a good job in the weight room. He's grown up. He's kind of young. He's a normal age freshman, 18, and sophomore, 19. And he's 20 now. He's regular age. He's a young guy, young body, but he's done a lot of work on that. And we anticipate he'll be a really good player for us. He's all league last year, so he's those guys. Those are the guys that can turn into really good players. But he has had a good spring and a good summer, and I think it's really important for him to be a good player. And so I think it'll happen. And then Mikey Lewis is a very good scorer and a very good guard and had a good year for us. It's just he's a freshman, so he needed to learn to be number one thing he had to get stronger. And number two, he had to get better defensively. But I like where he's at. I think he'll be a good player for us, and I think he's really adjusted his game where it makes more sense now and will help us win more. But we're counting on those two guys heavily for this upcoming year.
Rebounding is a key concept in your program. The Gaels were number 3 in offensive rebounding efficiency while finishing third on the offensive boards as well this past season.
Yeah, actually, last two seasons we've been number one in the country in rebounding margin. So, and
Mhm.
that's very hard to do. I think the only other team that's done that since 2000 is Michigan State, and they did it three times. But we hang our hat on that. It's an important thing to us. And again, it goes back to there's a commitment there, but we have good players. We're big. We play big. Our guards are big. Our fours and fives are real big. And so we were good on the boards. Paulus, like I said, is a good rebounder. Harry Wessels and Andrew McKeever, those guys will be good on the boards for us. I think we lose some good rebounding though. We lost Mitchell Saxon. We lost Luke Barrett, who was a really good rebounding three man, and then even Augustus was a big guard. But it is something I think that is pretty much hammered into these guys' heads that's kind of what we're going to do is rebound and defend. Starts with that as far as winning basketball.
From a psychological standpoint, how do you coach body language to stress positivity?
We do that.
Mhm.
It's I think it's just what you can do what you can do in games, what you do every day in practice, and so I would say all year long that is a point of emphasis. I'd put it under attitude, but
Mhm.
body language is attitude, and I think it's important. You didn't see Michael Jordan back in the day, or most any great players, but Jordan's the one I go to. You never saw any. bad body language from that guy. You might see emotion and you might
Hmm.
see competing, but wasn't bad body language. And so I think it's really important. I think you got to work on it. Recruit it is an easy way to get a head start on it. But so it is something we talk about in our practice, in our program. Like I said, it would be, we're heavy on having great attitudes, not good attitudes.
Sure. On game day, how do you see players go through mental preparation?
I think everybody needs to have a routine on
Hmm.
game day. You should have a game day routine. I think, again, I think great players have them. So I guess that's the biggest thing I would say on that is you need to have a routine and on game day. And you just I'm sure some people do it, but I think the best way to be consistent and perform well is to have a routine. And
How much will your defensive philosophy generally change from year to year?
pretty consistent on what kind of personnel we try and bring in. We like to play big.
Hmm.
I don't think you can advance too far without having size. And
Hmm.
so, like even this year when we played, once you get to the conference championship in our league, if you want to try and win the conference championship, you're gonna have to be big. Um, if you get in the NCAA tournament, you're gonna there's just size. It starts showing up. We played Alabama this year to get the Sweet 16, and I mean they just kept bringing bigs and bigs and bigs off the bench, and so I've been doing it long enough. We've been to that point of the NCAA tournament enough times that I think you need to be big, and so we try and we try and play that way, and so that affects how we have to defend. And again, when you get to the NCAA tournament and start trying to make it to, to advance, you're going to see good defensive teams, and you're going to have to be good defensively. And if you're playing small, I mean, just look at Purdue; they're not playing
Yeah.
small. Duke not playing small. Those teams at the end, and yeah, those teams in the NCAA tournament, most of them are big. So that's what we're trying to be. And so that's how we recruit. And so we defend accordingly. And
Florida head basketball coach Todd Golden played for you at St. Mary's, and of course, the Gators rolled to a national championship. In fact, he did this in 3 years in monumentally building that program with, finding great players. He fit them into a system. This team came from behind to win four of its six NCAA tournament games.
yeah, we were super proud at St. Mary's for Todd. Incredible story.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think I forget the number, but for first youngest guy to win the national championship since Jim Valvano, I believe, which is over 30 years ago. And
Yeah.
the tough field. I mean, the there were you had to go through the best ones to do it. And they were in situations. I saw his last three of his last four games. I did not see the national championship in
Mhm.
person. I saw the other three, and their guys had great belief, and that's coaching, that's leadership, it's recruiting the right guys. But they never panicked. They never lost their confidence. They were in some tough there were some tough spots,
Sure.
including the Houston game, and they just kept, you know, playing it out and making good decisions and believing and being positive with one another. Their body language was great, and they ended up winning it, which was just an incredible deal and an incredible story. And so, uh, yeah, really proud of Todd. He played for us 5 years, and he was a very feisty competitor. I could have told you when he played for us that he's been very successful. I didn't
Sure.
even know he was going into coaching at that time. But whatever he's going to do, if he would have gone on Wall Street, he would have crushed that too. He's
Mm.
sharp, very sharp guy, very good communicator, very positive, and he's always he's had a little swagger about him since we recruited him. That's why we took him, and he wasn't he wasn't a scholarship guy for the first 2 years, and then he was, and that was kind of the deal going into it. And but he just shoot, he became captain of our team, helped us go to the NCAA tournament twice, and so he's just a he's got the right things as far as personality and skill sets and work ethic and those things to be very successful. And it's cool to see it happen. It's cool when it's one of yours.
Oh, sure.